That's what I know you from. You were in the Hamilton movie. Whatever happened to David?
Yeah.
We should start rolling. Do you guys want to start rolling?
Hey, it's Leslie Odom Jr., currently making my West End debut in Hamilton, an American musical, as Aaron Burr, once again.
And I'm Thomas Kail, director of the new Disney film Moana, and I'm also the director of Hamilton on Broadway, the West End, and a little outlet called Disney Plus.
We are in the rehearsal room at the Victoria Palace Theatre. It's the home of Hamilton, the musical in London. We're going to talk about our long history together and to celebrate the release of Disney's Moana.
And we're also here to celebrate Leslie's sold-out West End run. Let's get into it and take it back to where it all began.
Thomas Kail, you've done it again.
Uh-oh.
You've done it again! I saw Moana this morning.
Oh, wow.
This soulful meditation on growing up, on parenthood and coming of age. I was so moved and so happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. So that means a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. We set out on a big mission on this one, and I just, I think what you're saying resonates deeply with me, and I really appreciate it, because in the very first conversation I had with Dwayne, talked about this movie as a soul. It is about a people. And so that has to be in the center of every conversation we have, moment to moment and sort of throughout the film. And knowing that I've basically been chasing the same story. Who am I? Who am I meant to be? And this one just really lays it bare. And so this idea that there's something inside of us that we might feel that is not in concert with those around us and what they feel, or there's someone who sees something in us that we do not see. And this notion, as someone very wise once said, that you can be both scared and brave at the same time. So when she looks out, she doesn't head out there knowing, she heads out there not knowing, and setting that course, which obviously has intersected, in some of the work that we've had to do together about those moments. But I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. That means a lot to me.
I feel like I was talking to you about this movie for a while. How long has the process been?
The first conversation I had with anybody about it was in late 2022. And I had some stuff that I was finishing up, and I said, I need to get my head right, so give me a couple months. And so I sat down with Dwayne in the middle of March of 2023. That was the first conversation I had about the film. And then met with some other folks that were stakeholders, and fooled them, and and then started really working in earnest about a month later. So April of 23, and then we hit the middle of the strike. So that, we were, I was actually in Hawaii. I was supposed to meet Catherine 3 days from that day. It was a Wednesday when the strike happened in July, and we shut down. And I had seen a tape of Catherine, and I sat up in my chair and I said, something's happening. She sent this tape of her singing How Far I'll Go and 2 other songs. And I had that same feeling that I've experienced a few times. I experienced it on the work that we had done together. And then I met her in December of that year. And as I say, not glibly, if you don't have a Moana, you don't have a movie Moana. So it's just an idea until then. It's just a possibility. And then she walked into Bernie Telsey's office in December of 23, and everything that I wanted to believe to be true was true. And then all of a sudden we could set a course and we could go. So that was the initial trajectory, but with the strike in the middle of that, obviously, which changed everything for so many of us.
They asked us to talk about when we met. The first Hamilton reading that I did, there were a few, right? But I did the first one. I feel like it was in Chelsea that I did. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. How much material were we doing?
How much do we have? 4 or 5 songs of Act 2. I feel like it was just Lack teaching us the material.
Yeah.
Lack would be with us.
My favorite 2 days of rehearsal are when music's being taught, because I just float around and say one funny thing, and then I was like, I should go get some snacks. And then I head out.
I feel like it was just about it took a while for us to, for us to internalize the material enough for you guys to, give us thoughts on it.
Right. Yeah.
Like that. But my memory outside looking in, I know my first sort of the time I was in the room with you was at, it would have been Poughkeepsie, seeing the first reading of the thing when you guys were at music stands in a little black box theater, as big as this room. And, You did the first act
Right. Yeah.
of Hamilton, the musical Hamilton, the mixtape, the Hamilton mixtape. And like, I know there were 100 people in that room. Did you guys do, I think you did 2 showings,
like 2
right?
presentations,
So I saw one of them,
Yeah.
right? I was one of the 200 people that saw that thing. Were you so happy with that? Like you must have been.
I mean, I remember feeling okay.
Yeah.
You know, because this might have been 2013 or something like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, what we really needed to do was to go away and work. And so what this, you know, this place in Poughkeepsie, New York Stage and Film provided, I actually was living with Lynn and Alex during that time. So it gives you this very dorm room feeling.
Yeah.
And it sort of separates you from the responsibilities that you have, because it basically says you're going to eat these 3 meals at this place, and then you're going to go to rehearsal at that time, and that's what you have to go do for the next 5 or 6 days. And it was the first time we had a chance to really put it together in a chronological sequence, because when we did the little event at Jazz at Lincoln Center in 2012, that was just like, here's 8 or 9 songs. And we have this one, and we have this one, and we have this one. That was the first time I really saw it interact with people. But this was, is there chronology that can exist? Can a story be told within this, in that little black box theater? So yeah, I remember feeling encouraged and excited to get back to work. You know, making musicals is so elliptical. I've been working on this movie since April of 2023. With the exception of the strike, I've been working on it daily since then,
Right.
until about 3 weeks ago. Right. And that's not like a approximation. It's like an actual thing, you know? So that was an everyday thing. Whereas with musicals, you get together for these periods of intensity and then you go away. So I remember being with you like at Gibney at 890.
Yep.
Like that's when it really sort of starts to coalesce.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
And it was like, oh, I remember conversations we had. I see you in that. Like, you know, one thing that I don't know if you have a memory of this, but you and I went to eat. We did a photo shoot. And Lord knows people don't take a lot of photos of me. So, but we did a photo shoot after Off-Broadway, and we went to the Time Warner Center, and we went out to lunch, and we had this conversation, which is obviously much more meaningful to me.
No.
Okay.
Say more.
We were at the Time Warner Center, and we had just done this photo shoot, and Off-Broadway had happened. And we were about to go to Broadway.
Yeah.
And we sat down in a non-rehearsal setting, and not like just catching each other after a show, but with some distance, and then the ability to look forward to rehearsal, which was maybe a month away.
Yeah.
And we have to find this picture. And it's like me looking like I should not be wearing whatever I'm wearing. And I was like, well, Leslie looks stylish and cool again. But I remember you talking about what this could mean as a person who was saying like, this is where I am in my life. And I feel something. I feel like this could give me an opportunity to do something that I've always wanted to do. When I was that 19-year-old kid in Rent, and when I was that kid, you know, in PA, dreaming of something. Yeah. You're like, I'm close to it. I'm close to it. And I think like I can see my way there. And so to be with you in this moment, you know, and I promised I wouldn't say this if we were, you know, not in this setting, but you know, when I had that first conversation with Dwayne, he said, Tommy, I did that 10 years ago. I'm different now. And when you called and said, Tommy, I did that thing in 2016. I'm different now.
Yeah.
I want to see how I intersect with it. It just was like, oh, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
These are 2 men who were at a place then who now said, let me come back to this. The text can be the text. I've changed. What can I shine through that? So I just, you know, I think from that conversation of us sitting across that table to you making that phone call and now somehow we're here, you know, is, you know, one of those those remarkable things, the way the time expands and contracts.
It's wild.
When you saw it in Poughkeepsie for the first time and we presented the first act and maybe a couple songs of the second act, I think we had like 2, but like, there was no, you know, it was not a lot. What was it that spoke to you? And what was your relationship to In the Heights, Lynn's first show? Like, how had you interacted with his music sort of?
Oh my gosh. Oh, In the Heights was one of those shows. I listened to it on a Greyhound bus, a long trip in college. I think I was going from Pittsburgh to New York, which is long. That's a long bus trip for some audition. And this new show was out. And so I listened to it and the tears like shot perpendicular. They like shot out of my eyes that way because nothing moves me like, when someone steps on a stage with the need to communicate, with urgency, somebody that's going to lay themselves on the line to get a message to me. And you heard that in it was in every bar of that thing from the very beginning. What a beautiful time capsule, this is of this underrepresented group of people who are standing in the spotlight in this moment in full and courageous way. So that's why, I came to see the Hamilton mixtape. Everybody wanted to see what the follow-up would be, what could it possibly be, And so, when we'd heard it was going to be about the founding fathers, it's like, what a left turn. So, that was not what we were expecting. But Lynn reminded me a lot of Jonathan, of Larson. When I felt that when I heard In the Heights, I felt that when I was sitting in that black box theater. It was somebody who was writing in the musical vernacular of our time. That this person, the rhythms and the melodies and the way that the way he had with the music is the music of our time. He found a way to drag that music on stage so that modern stories can be told and we can still honor this tradition, this great tradition of musical theater that we all revere. But for every generation, somebody's got to make the sound of our time work up there. And he did it.
Yeah, when we were doing Hamilton and Lynn was writing Moana concurrently, whenever he was not on stage and I needed him on stage, I would ask one question: is he in the dressing room writing Moana? And the answer was always yes. And I go up there and there'd be like someone doing a demo. And I was like, hello, Pippa. Hello, Lynn. Can we do it done? And so he was writing alongside, and a lot of those initial demos were someone he grabbed, like, hey, can I do this? Or, and obviously, and Chris Jackson is, voices in the thing. And so there was this intertwining. And I think, as a pal of Lynn's, we met in May of 2002. And we're going on our 24th year. And what I like to think of it as, and what we talk about it as, is like it's a 24-year conversation. And, I talked to him 4 hours ago, and we're talking about stuff that is absolutely present. And we're talking about something that happened in 2010. We're talking about 2005. And all of it's there. And the depth of that is, one of the reasons I wanted to be here making Moana. And I was so, when your friends make things with you, you get to celebrate together. And when they make things outside of that, you celebrate as well. Like, I bought that ticket. I was there that first weekend in Moana, and he's done that for me and I've done that for him. But to find each other again, when we were sitting on the set of Motunui, we built this set and we were sitting there and I was sitting next to Lynn and his children were playing on the set. And we were hearing these songs that he wrote in that dressing room. And it was 8 years later. And somehow we were still here. Just like I look at you and I say, like, here we are.
Yeah.
With all the stuff that life can do. And like, we have found each other. This thing has united us in the way that Lynn's music has. And, one of the things about Lynn's writing, and it's hard for me to say nice things about him, so I hope that they don't use this part, is he is always deepening character and he is always advancing story. So what that means is when a character decides to sing, we're getting to know them better.
Yes.
And we are also moving the story down the field. And there's no moment in Hamilton where that doesn't happen. And there's no moment in Moana where that doesn't happen.
It was such a privilege. That was one of really the great privileges. Like, listen, I sort of remember that lunch, but what I really remember are those moments where I got to eavesdrop and sort of see you and Lynn have that conversation. You're the only one I've ever seen him, the way you guys talk and investigate and burrow. I would be standing there at the piano, going through a song, and you and him would talk about it and you would ask him questions about it. And you would sort of, in a way that maybe only you can, sort of challenge him, and ask him to go farther. It was such a privilege to see the synergy of your relationship. It was very clear watching the film that this is an expansion of the world, that this is, that you guys were going to go farther, and this wasn't just redoing the movie that we'd seen. And so, Yeah, how does that start with the new song? How does that begin?
Yeah, we really, we took a step back before we got into shooting, and thought, is there another musical moment? Is there something that you wish you had done? And a lot of those conversations, he said, yeah, we tried that. We didn't need it. Yeah, we tried it. We actually, found that there was another way to get through. So they'd done so much of that research and development. And we didn't want to write a song for writing a song's sake. And we talked about it for a long while. And we did it in the way that we always do, which we talked about the thing until it revealed itself. Is, the one moment that we don't get musically in this is our two heroes singing together. And in most musicals, there would be a song where Maui and Moana would sing together.
Right.
And we don't have that experience watching this film. I don't think the film needs it in the body of the film. But what we have here, when that movie ends, we have this blank space. And I said, Lynn, the only people I would want to hear from are Maui and Moana. And he said, keep going. And I can tell when I'm putting pennies and they're like bouncing off, and I can tell when I was like, I think that one went in.
Okay, yeah.
And I said, I think there's another opportunity. I think that we can open up the multiverse, because the only thing better than one Moana singing with Maui, and he kind of looked at me and we both sort of said, it's two Moanas. I remember he said, I got it. And so he's like, I got it. As they say in the UK, leave it with me. And he got off the phone and we talked the next day. And he said, if it's the two of them, it's about a trailblazer. It's about the one who came before, who's saying, I'm still here. That, there is nowhere you can go that I won't be with you. That idea that Tala imparts, right. Lynn musicalized that idea in the meta-textual conversation of Alihi to Catherine. And then in the lyric, which is really building on this idea of you don't know where you're going unless you know where you've been. Alihi had been somewhere that only she understood. There are two Moanas. That's it. And the one person who connected them was Maui. So that song sprang forth, and it came out of him the way that sometimes when we were working, like it would just come out, like Room came out fully formed. Yeah. Like when he sent, I'll Be Back, there were no notes. It was like, that's the song. Other things you get in there, but some of them, they come out in that way. But I think about
the song in Hamilton the musical is called You'll Be Back.
What did I call it?
I'll Be Back.
Has this come out yet? You'll Be Back. It's called You'll Be Back.
I know what you mean though. I remember
Hugh Laurie did it. It's something about Hugh Laurie.
I remember when he came over with when he was, deep into Act 2, he came over with like It's Quiet Uptown, or he came over with that finale. Yeah, those things never changed. We sang on stage the first version.
So, sometimes the baby can walk when it comes into the world, and those ones were just, off and running. But, I think what you provided for Lynn was, because Lynn wrote some good stuff. And he was like, and it's like, Lynn, you can't do that. You can't do that. But maybe we will find somebody who can. And there is a spirit in Lynn, which he wants everybody to eat. Like he wants everybody to eat, and then he'll write the finale, or then he'll write the thing for him. Like he is a host.
Yes.
There is a spirit about him that is someone, he just wanted to throw a party so people would come over and be there. Yeah. And so he made sure everybody had what they needed. You're going to stay? If you get to sing this, will you stay? And we all say yes. So when you reached out to us about returning to Broadway, part of that conversation was seeing how you intersected now with this part. And again, the beauty of the theater is that the text and the canon is the same, and it's how we step into it. And you did that, and you had that experience, and then said, I think there's more. So from there to here, like what was the process in your brain of what was left to conquer? And you also texted me the other day as you started rehearsal, and you said there's more treasures to find.
Yeah.
Like you have been in this and immersed in it for over a decade. And the fact that you said that that's a very you thing, right? Because you're still digging.
Yeah.
Right? And you never and so what propelled you to this, and what are you still finding?
The show that brought a generation of us to the theater was a show called Rent. And they, that cast, that company, a friend of ours produced that show too, they kind of, they were the gold standard for me. Like that, if you get one of these, if you're lucky enough to get one of these, that's what you do. That's how you not only begin it, but that's how you tend to it. They served the fandom for a long time. They gave us what we wanted. They went back to Broadway. They did the movie and so there's not a whole lot of shows that I've done that have given me the opportunity to do that. But, this show was that. And so when I left 10 years ago, I needed to leave. There were pressing things that I needed to address, who knew? I didn't know that it would be open 10 years later, but there was an event that was being planned. It was before the Tonys, actually. I know there was maybe a one night event that was going to happen in New York. Mm-hmm. And so I was going to get to do it again. And I was really excited. I was like, okay, I'll get to do it another night. And that didn't happen. And we didn't know that the Tonys were gonna happen, but it was on that conversation when Lynn was so kind and, letting me know about the schedule. And so when it wasn't gonna happen, I said, there is this other thing that, that I thought about. And he was like, are you serious? I said, I think I'm serious. He's like, well, if you call Jeffrey, that'll happen in a couple weeks. And so I was so, grateful for Jeffrey to move things around to make it happen. And I didn't know beyond, the fact that I'd seen this thing done before. And it felt, Tommy, too, like this could also be once in a lifetime. The first was once in a lifetime, and getting to do it 10 years later, like, when am I going to do that? And it was that, doing it with the new company of people, doing it in a new season of life. My kids weren't born the first time, doing it, my kids to be able to be there. The last Dear Theodosia, I didn't even make it through on Broadway because my kids were there, and I had been singing a song really about Lucy and Abel for 10 years, before I even met them, so it was very special. And this too is just like, another singular experience. The West End still means something. I'm so happy to be here with this.
Yeah. I remember you saying in those early days when we were doing the workshop, when we did Dear Theodosia and there were no lights, you had to do something when Lynn was singing. And so you prayed and you thought about what didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
And then when you came back, it did exist. Those children of yours, life will do that to you. Life will do that to you.
The fact that this show gave birth, to a whole company of artists and, careers and, has allowed us to really make our way in the world. It's done the same thing for you. It gave birth to you as a film director,
Right.
The Hamilton film was the first thing you made for the big screen. And we got to see it on the big screen last year, which was so
That's right.
cool.
Yeah.
To see us that big. But it's a proper film, and Moana is a proper film. I mean, what are you trying to do as a filmmaker? What stays with you from the theater now as a filmmaker? What's that path been to becoming a big old Hollywood movie director?
They just put me in this chair, so I don't know if that's true. But maybe it makes it look like something. When we made the film, which we shot over 3 days, we shot a Sunday with an audience, a little bit that night, a Monday all day without an audience, a Tuesday morning and a Tuesday, and that was it. So we shot in those 3 days, and that was in June of 2016. And the effort there was to capture the feeling of what it might have felt like to be in the Richard Rodgers Theater in June of 2016. You, Lynn, Pippa, and Ari were leaving on July 9th. And we shot this within 2 or 3 weeks of that. And what I thought we had an opportunity to do, which is distinct from going to see a live piece of theater, is give everybody the same seat. Mm. Everybody gets the same vantage point because we all have the same ticket. Mm. Whereas when you go see a piece of theater, I'm in the mezzanine, you're house left, you're in the back of this, you're in the front row. We see a different show.
Yeah.
And the opportunity to make something to memorialize this company, it was a wild and complicated time. And what was underneath all of it, whether I was able to express it as clearly as I wanted to or not, is I loved you all. And I wanted to make something that was a love letter to all of you. And that's why I wanted to make it. And so I then started cutting the film. There was no, we just made the film. I started cutting the film. And as I said to our wonderful editor, Jonah, I said, Jonah, this is the only time you and I will ever cut anything where no one's saying make it shorter, or maybe that scene should go in the front, or maybe that scene doesn't need to be in the movie. So we're really just crafting the point of view that we are giving. And the performances were all, you guys had 300 at it, at that point. Like, that was not about directing performance. That was about capturing something. And we had done that work on performance, and you guys laid it out there. So we cut that film. We found a home with Disney, and it was going to come out many years later. We found the home with them in 2019. When the world stopped and the world changed, Bob Iger called us and said, this was maybe in April, if around March 11, 12, 13, everything started to shift for the world. And about a month later, he said, would you consider it coming out on Disney Plus? And we said, let us sit with it for a minute. We didn't, everything was upside down. And then Jeffrey Seller, our producer, Lynn and I spoke very shortly after that. And we said, yes. And I had mostly finished the film. There was a little bit of color correction, but the film, they bought was the film that you saw. And I could do a little of that work remotely. And then the film came out on July 3rd. But, the first time that we all watched it, we were dispersed. I remember we all had a Zoom after that, and talking. And it helped me find a pathway back to people. I feel like you and I were able to build a bridge that we had never driven on because of that opportunity. And so, it also allowed us to share this with as many people as possible. And that was the goal then. It remains the goal. And I think in so many ways that spirit of celebrating and memorializing what I wanted to try to do as a guest to Polynesian culture, I saw as an opportunity here, with my collaborators. And so I think there's a direct line, from one to the other, but sitting with you and the company in the Delacorte Theater in the middle of Central Park last September, you with your children in that audience, Lynn to my side, sitting with our families and watching this. And as I always said, it put you all in some way finally into the world in mythic form. It was your face in that close-up of room 30 feet high. It was the movement of our dancers 30 feet high. And there was something about taking it out of human scale and letting it live like that also felt a long time coming. One of the things that is very present when you are capturing anything that Lynn has written is the material is true. And so there's your guide. And so whether you've built the village or you are shooting in the Richard Rodgers Theater, trust the lyric. Trust the story that is being told by the lyric and the feel of the music. And, that's the entry point. And so if you're doing, whether you're doing a number on stage, like Room, which is quite a storytelling number, and the way that we tried to be subjective in certain moments, and be all the way on stage to sort of break in, past a proscenium at those, at those particular points. When you're doing a number, like Where You Are, which is basically an opening number, you realize that you have an opportunity to show the world, much like Belle shows the world, when she says, welcome in, much like tradition shows you where you are. So I think it was a reminder to trust the material. And that's not always what filmmakers do. So I come from a place where the written word is the word with a capital T and a capital W. And so I only understand that as a guide. That's how I've navigated everything. And, and the process of making Hamilton, also just in terms of strengthening my chops editorially. I just, every time you do, something thickens. You once talked about, you used the word robust in terms of what you were after in a kind of performance. I always loved that word. It really stayed with me. And I want to make things that are thick, that are layered in the way that you were making a layered performance, the way that company was, and to try to capture that. And that's how I felt, whether the camera was on Raina or Catherine or Dwayne or John Tui or Frankie. Like this company was giving, and they were communicating in between the line, which is something I also wanted to try to capture. Hi, I'm Leslie Odom Jr.
Okay, they've given me some questions.
They've given me some questions.
Yeah, we're gonna with this little quiz here on a little show called Hamilton the Musical. Now, there's a song the King sings. Is it called "You'll Be Back" or "I'll Be Back"?
A.
Okay. No, the real question is: Guns and Ships holds the record for the fastest song ever performed on Broadway. How many words per second were required to set this record? A, 3.6, B, 5.2, C, 6.3, D, 8.1.
D.
Good guess. It is C.
Oh, come on. Why would you have to do the most impressive one? You tell David to stop changing the answers to the questions. Leslie.
Yeah.
I just found these cards that have questions about the movie Moana.
I saw it this morning. I'm ready. Ask me anything.
What does the name Moana mean in many Polynesian languages? A, ocean sea, B, strength, C, guiding star, D, coconut.
Oh, yeah. A.
Once again, he's correct.
Tommy Kail, what year did Hamilton open on the West End? A, 2016, B, 2017, C, 2018, D, 2019.
My memory
Is excellent.
tells me
the
it
best
was
memory.
December of 2017.
You're right. 2017. You
December 21st, 2017.
your memory is, has it always been like that?
I mean, apparently not for how many words, David? Was wrapping a minute.
No.
There are certain things that feel carved in. Your birthday, for instance, which I believe there was some significant Hamilton moment. There's a trivia question for you at home. Leslie, what is the name of the giant crab who sings Shining? Tamatoa, Tangaroa, Rongo, or Pincho?
B.
It's a tie. The answer is Tamatoa, A.
Oh, man. Tamatoa. Hey, I got to see the movie again. Run it back. Run it back. Okay.
Did you watch it on an iPad?
No.
Can you
I
imagine?
had a theater all to myself. It was like me and two other people. All right, Tommy. What Disney animated film released in 2021 features songs written by Miranda? A, Encanto. B, Coco. C, Raya and the Last Dragon. D, Wish.
If I got this wrong, I would have one less friend. The answer is A.
You're right, it's A. Encanto.
I only had two questions for you.
Oh, that's it.
There's a bonus one.
We get to answer it together.
Here we go.
And I have the last question. Hello, boys. Longtime fan, first time caller. The question is, some Hamilton original cast members have gone on to do voices in Disney films. Name the actors, extra points if you can name the characters they voiced.
Jonathan Groff
Ooh, good one.
is in Frozen,
That's right.
and his character's name is Jonathan Groff.
It's like
Sven.
Minskoff.
No, that's not-
It's like, I think that's the moose.
Olaf is the moving on. Chris Jackson is singing in the animated film Moana from 2016.
So it's Philippa Sue. Philippa
she-
Sue
I think she has
also
a-
sings in,
Ari was in Wish.
yes, she was, Ariana DeBose, Academy Award winner Ariana DeBose.
There's one more.
There's one more.
Ooh,
Are you just going through everything?
Anthony? It's gonna be Anthony or Renee.
Can I give you a clue?
Well,
Okay, so Soul.
somebody was in Soul from our show?
Yeah, apparently it was.
Who?
Was Renee in Soul?
It was David.
Oh, David.
Oh, he doesn't count. He's talented.
Oh, Little Mermaid.
He's in that as well, but he also plays a character called Paul in Soul.
Did he? And now we know.
Whatever happened to David?
Yeah.
Did he ever do any
Academy
animated work?
Award nominated Soul. We love Soul. I gotta watch Soul again now. He was
in The Little Mermaid.
The crab.
Who's the crab? Sebastian?
That's right.
Yeah.
Bonus question.
bonus.
Let's wrap up. Can you name the Disney live action movie that Lynn is in?
Lim was
yes.
in Mary
A
Poppins
little-
Returns.
That's right.
Does
a
that
little
count?
movie called Mary the Poppins.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, that's very appropriate
good.
here in the United Kingdom.
That's right. Nicely done.
I'm very happy to be with you.
My pleasure. Happy to be with you, man. Congratulations. It's so beautiful.
Thank you, sir.
Congrats.
All right, let's get back to rehearsal. Come on.